Robin Hobb, a beloved author here on BookTube. She's written the massive Realm of the Elderlings, and that begins with the Farseer trilogy. And she's fantastic at writing. She is truly a brilliant writer, but I hate her more than almost anything. It's just so frustrating. So I've read many a bad book in my life, but to be honest, I haven't read that many infuriating books in my life. And if not for Terry Goodkind, Robin Hobb would definitely take the cake for the most infuriating thing I've ever read. I think I've read 6 or 7 of her books now. I know she can write, she's great at writing, she's just bad at storytelling. And I just keep trying because I want to like her, and I know that she's great at writing. Like, I've seen that. It's just that she's crap at telling stories. And that's what's so frustrating and infuriating about her books. Her books follow the most mundane day-to-day activities of people, and a lot of it doesn't have any bearing on anything, really. Along with that, in the Farseer trilogy, this is probably more of a branding problem than anything wrong with the content, but the first book, or every book in this series, has assassin in the title. The first book is Assassin's Apprentice, and let me tell you, there's no real assassinations anywhere in this entire trilogy. He is trained as an assassin, yes, but does he use the skills at any point, really? No, not really. What's just so frustrating to me about Fitz as a character is he's so incredibly passive. The story just happens to him, and so he's not doing anything proactive to help his situations for the most part. He will learn that Regal is doing some shady shit like usual, and instead of talking to King Shrewd or Verity, he just kind of keeps it to himself or tells Jade and complains about it. But like, just go to the people who actually need to know this information, and also if they don't listen to you, you can still do proactive things to either help yourself or to prove your point to them so that they see that Regal's really shitty. But he just doesn't do anything at all. He just kind of sits there and waits for the story to happen. And when you pair that with the day-to-day activities that are just so banal, it's just exhausting and tiring reading something so tedious, you know? And it's just such a shame because technically, like, her technical ability as a writer is fantastic. She's great, she's like Gaga Real K, but her stories are just awful. But the reason that I hate her is not for the Realm of the Elderlings. It's not for the Life Ship Trader series. It's basically like those TV shows like Parenthood or This Is Us, where it's an entire family just constantly bickering and yelling at and over each other. And it was just super frustrating to read. But the reason that I hate her so much is the Soldier Sun trilogy, starting with Shannon's Crossing. I have never read something so infuriating in my entire life. Oh my god. The main character, I'm gonna call him Nava because the narrator had a British accent and didn't pronounce his R's. He has the same problem that Fitz has, is he's just not proactive in any sense. And so we're going through this story, and he is the second son, and in this world, the second son is always sent to train to be a soldier, while the first son is kept at home to kind of inherit the estate. And so he is at this military academy, and the son of the principal is a little shit who's constantly trying to get him in trouble. And then there are also bullies at the school, and there are just all these situations that he's put in where he's getting in trouble, he's getting yelled at, berated by an adult, and instead of saying even a peep, he just completely shuts down and freezes. He basically goes catatonic, and he can't think. I get that is like a response to anger that some people have, but it was just so frustrating reading this perspective. I don't know if this was intentioned at all, but it feels a lot like that book, I think The Curious Case of the Dog in the Nighttime, about that autistic boy. The kind of thought processes that these two characters have felt very, very similar. And so it was just I and so it was just super frustrating in book one when he's getting in trouble constantly and not saying a word to defend himself when he didn't do anything wrong. Where this gets really bad is the end of book two. He is just so stupid and naive that it's unbelievable, honestly. There is this scene where there's this part at the end of book two where there's this plague racking this kind of settlement, and the girl he is into, if I recall correctly, gets sick. And a lot of the people who get sick appear to be dead and are thrown into graves, but it turns out they're not actually quite dead yet. I believe she comes back from her grave to see him and dies there, if I recall correctly. And when people find him and her together, they think that because the two of them never got together when she was alive, they all think that Nava is a necrophiliac and defiled her body. And so he's thrown in jail, and he has no clue why. He doesn't understand what's going on. And so his friend, or two, come to see him and explain that the entire town thinks he's a necrophiliac and that he's going to get executed. And again, he just completely goes internal and shuts down. And he can't speak, he can't even really think, and he doesn't say anything to defend himself. And so he nearly gets executed. And it's just so hard to read. And it seems like this is a problem with all of her books. And I truly don't know why people like them so much. I get it, like, she's great at writing, but her stories are trash. Anyway, I just had to get that off my chest. This is a random little rant. Some final notes. If you like Robin Hobb, that's absolutely fine, and I'm actually very happy for you that you're able to enjoy her books. I really wish that I could personally. I totally get that she's really, really great at writing, and you might enjoy her style of storytelling, but it's just really, really not for me, and I find it incredibly frustrating to read these constant miseries that these characters are going through because of their own inaction. But yeah, those are just some of my feelings about why I dislike her writing so much. If you think that I should give her another try with a different series, maybe her Rain Wild series, if you're able to convince me that that is worth reading, I might give it a try, because at this point I think I've read 7 of her books, and I do really, really want to like her, and I'm actually very curious about the Fool. He's always been my favorite part of her books. So yes, try and convince me, but we'll see if I am ever able to like her. Anyway, those are just some of my thoughts, and I hope you guys have a good one. Later.